Hey there, fellow dirt under the fingernails enthusiasts. As the summer heat starts to wane and those first whispers of autumn breeze dance through your garden, I know what you're thinking. Well, that's another growing season in the books. Time to pack it up and wait for spring, right? Wrong, and I'm here to challenge that thinking completely. Welcome to what I'm calling the Fall Garden Challenge. A complete paradigm shift that will revolutionize how you view the so-called end of the gardening season. After years of watching gardeners hang up their gloves come Labor Day, I've become passionate about sharing one of gardening's best-kept secrets. Fall is actually your garden's golden hour, not its curtain call. Let me share something that completely transformed my gardening journey. 3 years ago, I was that gardener who treated September like a funeral march for my vegetable beds. I'd pull up my spent tomato plants, maybe scatter some leaves around and call it a season. Then, almost by accident, I planted some lettuce in late August. Not only did it grow, it absolutely thrived in ways my spring lettuce never had. That single moment sparked what became an obsession with fall gardening, and honestly, it's changed everything about how I approach growing food. Fall gardening isn't just about extending your harvest, it's about discovering that autumn might actually be the most forgiving, productive, and downright magical time to have your hands in the soil. The science behind this is fascinating. As temperatures cool, many plants actually concentrate their energy into producing sweeter, more tender growth. Those scorching summer days that had your lettuce bolting faster than you could say Caesar salad, they're gone. Instead, you get consistent moisture, fewer pest pressures, and plants that seem to sigh with relief as they settle into their preferred growing conditions. Here's where most gardeners miss the boat entirely. Fall gardening isn't about planting the same crops you grew in summer and hoping for the best. It's about understanding that you're working with a completely different set of rules, and once you master those rules, you'll wonder why anyone ever thought gardening had to stop in September. The key lies in understanding your first frost date, not as a death sentence for your garden but as a roadmap for strategic planning. Most fall crops actually improve with a light frost. I've watched kale transform from bitter summer survivor to sweet, tender perfection after that first kiss of frost touches its leaves. Brussels sprouts become candy sweet, carrots develop a complexity of flavor that would make a sommelier weep, and spinach grows so lush and vibrant it looks like it belongs in a fairy tale. But timing is everything. The secret weapon in fall gardening is working backward from your average first frost date. This isn't about gambling with the weather, it's about calculated planning that puts you in control of your harvest timeline. Most fall crops need between 50 to 80 days to mature, which means your planting window typically opens in mid to late summer when you're still harvesting tomatoes and thinking winter is a million miles away. Now let's talk about choosing your fall garden warriors. This is where experience has taught me that not all vegetables are created equal when it comes to cool weather performance. Some crops merely tolerate fall conditions, while others absolutely come alive when temperatures drop. The absolute superstars of fall gardening are the brassicas, your kales, Brussels sprouts, cabbage, and broccoli. These plants are literally designed for cool weather, and watching them thrive in fall conditions while summer plants struggle is like witnessing plants find their true calling. I've harvested kale well into December, even with snow on the ground, and the quality was better than anything I'd grown during the summer months. Root vegetables are equally spectacular in fall. Carrots, radishes, turnips, and beets all develop their best flavor profiles when grown in cooling temperatures. There's something almost mystical about pulling a perfect carrot from soil that's been kissed by frost. The sugars concentrate in a way that transforms what might have been a decent summer carrot into something extraordinary. Leafy greens deserve their own celebration in fall gardens. Lettuce, spinach, arugula, and Asian greens like bok choy and mizuna not only tolerate cool weather, they prefer it. These crops that might have struggled through summer heat waves suddenly become prolific producers, giving you harvests that seem to multiply before your eyes. Here's where many gardeners stumble in their fall gardening attempts. They assume that because it's later in the season, the soil preparation can be less thorough. Actually, the opposite is true. Fall soil preparation is your foundation for success, and it requires a different approach than spring prep. Fall soil tends to be compacted from summer watering and foot traffic, but it also holds residual warmth that's perfect for helping newly transplanted seedlings establish strong root systems before winter. I always start my fall prep by deeply loosening the soil, but I'm more gentle than I am in spring. The goal isn't to completely turn over the earth, but to create those air pockets that roots love while preserving the soil structure that's developed over the growing season. Amendments become crucial in fall because you're asking your soil to support growth during a time when biological activity naturally slows down. I've found that adding compost at this stage provides both immediate nutrition and slow-release feeding that carries plants through the entire fall growing period. The compost also improves soil structure in a way that helps with both drainage during heavy fall rains and water retention during those inevitable dry spells. One thing that's transformed my fall gardens is paying attention to soil temperature, not just air temperature. Soil holds warmth much longer than air, and understanding this has helped me extend my planting windows and improve germination rates dramatically. A simple soil thermometer has become one of my most valuable fall gardening tools. The biggest mistake I see gardeners make with fall planting is treating it like spring planting with different weather. Fall timing requires a completely different strategic approach, and once you master this timing, your success rate will skyrocket. The foundation of good fall timing is understanding that you're racing against decreasing daylight, not just dropping temperatures. Plants grow more slowly as days shorten regardless of temperature. This means that a crop that might take 60 days to mature in spring could take 75 or even 80 days to reach the same stage in fall. I've developed what I call the succession planting approach for fall gardens. Instead of planting everything at once, I stagger plantings every 2 weeks starting in late summer. This gives me a continuous harvest that extends well into winter, and it also provides insurance against unexpected weather events. If an early frost damages one planting, I have others at different growth stages, ready to take over production. Microclimate awareness becomes absolutely critical in fall gardening. That spot in your garden that might have been perfectly fine for summer crops could be a frost pocket that ends your fall harvest prematurely. I've learned to identify the warm spots in my garden areas protected by structures, slopes that drain cold air, or locations that catch and hold afternoon sun. These become prime real estate for fall crops. This is where fall gardening gets exciting, and where you can really push the boundaries of what's possible in your climate. Season extension isn't about expensive greenhouse structures, though those are wonderful if you have them. It's about understanding simple techniques that can add weeks or even months to your growing season. Row covers have become my secret weapon for fall gardening success. These lightweight fabric barriers can add 4 to 8 degrees of frost protection, which often means the difference between a thriving plant and a dead one. But the real magic happens when you understand how to use them strategically. I don't just throw them on when frost threatens. I use them to create consistent microclimates that help plants establish before weather becomes challenging. Cold frames represent the next level of season extension, and they're much simpler to build and use than most gardeners realize. A basic cold frame is essentially a mini greenhouse that captures and holds solar energy during the day and releases it slowly at night. I've harvested fresh lettuce on Christmas morning from cold frames, and the sense of accomplishment never gets old. Water walls, cloches, and even simple milk jug protectors can extend individual plant seasons dramatically. The key is understanding that you're not trying to recreate summer conditions, you're just moderating the extremes enough to keep plants growing steadily through fall and into early winter. After years of fall gardening and, helping other gardeners navigate this season, I've seen the same mistakes repeated over and over. The good news is that these pitfalls are completely avoidable once you know what to watch for. The biggest mistake is underestimating water needs in fall. Just because temperatures are cooler doesn't mean plants need less water. In fact, fall-planted crops often need consistent moisture to establish properly, and fall can be surprisingly dry in many climates. I've learned to pay more attention to soil moisture in fall than I do in summer because, honestly, the visual cues are different, and it's easy to let plants get stressed without realizing it. Pest management in fall requires a different approach than summer pest control. Some pests become more active as their food sources dwindle, while others are preparing for winter and can cause unexpected damage. Cabbage worms, for instance, can be more destructive in fall because they're trying to complete their life cycles before winter. Understanding these patterns has helped me stay ahead of problems instead of reacting to them. Timing mistakes are the most heartbreaking because they're often irreversible within the same season. Planting too late means crops won't have time to mature before killing frosts. Planting too early can mean plants struggle through late summer heat and never establish properly. Keeping detailed records of what works in your specific climate and garden is invaluable for refining your timing year after year. So here's your challenge, fellow soil warriors. This fall, I want you to completely reimagine what's possible in your garden. Start small if you need to, maybe just one bed dedicated to fall crops, or even a few containers on your patio, but start something. Plant some lettuce in late August, try some radishes in September, get some garlic in the ground in October. More importantly, I want you to change your mindset about when the growing season ends. It doesn't end with the first frost or even the first snow in many climates. It ends when you decide it ends, and with the right knowledge and techniques, that decision can be much later than you ever thought possible. Keep detailed notes about what you plant, when you plant it, and how it performs. This information becomes your personal database for creating even more successful fall gardens in years to come. Share your experiences, your failures, and your victories with other gardeners. The fall gardening community is passionate and supportive, and we learn from each other's experiments. The Fall Garden Challenge isn't just about growing more food or having fresh vegetables later in the season, though those are wonderful benefits. It's about discovering that gardening can be a year-round passion, not just a seasonal hobby. It's about building skills and confidence that will make you a better gardener in every season. Are you ready to transform your relationship with fall gardening? Your soil is waiting, the weather is cooperating, and the potential for incredible harvests is sitting right there in your backyard. Let's make this the fall that changes everything. If this article has inspired you to take on the Fall Garden Challenge, I'd love to hear about your plans and progress. Subscribe to Soilsage Chronicles for more seasonal gardening strategies, and don't forget to share this with fellow gardeners who might be ready to discover the magic of fall growing. Together, we can revolutionize how people think about gardening seasons, one fall harvest at a time.